So, like, I don't know what's going on with this feed. The feed is not letting me. Esau just gave me a hard time with loading up and pressing play. Let me make sure this is live right now because it's showing I'm live. Okay, it is live. All right, Salakia. Yeah, Esau was messing with my feed. So I like to start off by saying Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Call Haloyim La Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rochakodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well. Blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect that scattered abroad, the Akim and the Akwat that's listening in. Yahweh Ratazah, Lord willing that the lesson is edifying. It's the brother Shawab Amawam back at you with another lesson. And what I want to get into is the title for the loss of snap, they will snap. Desperation. Okay. And I'm gonna play a couple videos. All right, real quick. And then I'll get into some scriptures. Give me 1 second, let me pull it up. Again, Salakia, it was literally Esau messing with my feed. It kept saying that it wasn't connecting. But apparently it was connected. So that was definitely weird. All right, but let me grab the video I want to show you. Got to go into my Instagram under my saved. Here goes one of them.
Go to work. My life is falling apart and I have to get up and fucking go to work. The world is falling apart, but I have to go to work. Right? I'm a black woman in America scared for my life, but I have to get up and go to work. What the fuck? What the fuck?
All right, so that's one of the videos. All right, and I believe I have another one. Give me 1 second.
Make sure your pantry and your refrigerator is stocked up, because this SNAP benefit situation is not just going to affect those that receive SNAP benefit. It's going to affect the grocery stores that you shop at, because guess what? As quiet as it's kept, those grocery stores are staying afloat and get a lot of money from these benefits. So what happens when the benefits are coming in? Are they still going to be able to purchase apples and waffles and all this stuff? This is the news story that they need to be talking about. But I guess they don't want to scare people because they don't want to stampede on the grocery stores. I advise you, I'm not fear-mongering, make sure your refrigerator, make sure your pantries are stocked up. Get your staples, your rice, your peanut butter. Make sure you get water, paper towels, toilet paper. Nobody want to be wiping their butt on old shirts because of whatever. I'm not fear-mongering. Just we are heading into unprecedented times. I hope that the situation turns around, but prepare yourself. Kiss my sunshine. Nick?
And that's what people want. People hoping that we could go back to normal, man. But the reality check is that we're not going to go back to normal. Okay.
Here is exactly what's happening in your state with November food stamps. Some people may see delays and some may get nothing at all. I'm Riley. I talk about breaking news, true crime, and everything in between. Make sure to hit that follow button for those updates, and let's get to it. All right, let's start first with the worst case scenario groups. The state saying that benefits will stop completely November 1st if the federal shutdown does not end. These include Texas, Pennsylvania, Illinois, and New York. Each has publicly said that without new funding, November 2nd SNAP benefits cannot be issued. Next is the delayed or on hold group, meaning that your benefits might come late or not at all, depending on how long the shutdown lasts. This includes Colorado, Michigan, Connecticut, Minnesota, New Jersey, Maryland, Wisconsin, Maine, and Kansas. Colorado and Michigan have already posted notices that November payments are on hold. Connecticut says that they'll pay retroactively if funding arrives later. Then there's the backup plan states, places trying to cover the gap with emergency funds or state-run food support. This includes California, Louisiana, Vermont, Virginia, Washington, Oregon, and Massachusetts. California's Governor Gavin Newsom set aside $80 million in emergency relief, and Louisiana, Vermont, and Virginia are launching food bank programs and senior meal support until federal aid resumes. Next is the warning-only category. These states haven't confirmed what happens November 1st, but are telling residents to prepare for possible interruptions. Florida, Georgia, Alabama, South Carolina, North Carolina, Tennessee, Kentucky, West Virginia, Ohio, Indiana, Missouri, Iowa, North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Mississippi, New Mexico, Arizona, Nevada, Utah, Alaska, and Hawaii. Each state has issued statewide alerts saying that SNAP benefits could be disrupted if the shutdown continues. There's no guarantee yet either way. And finally, the group of states that have no detailed statement yet. These states have not issued any official language, but will be affected if the shutdown continues. Delaware, Rhode Island, New Hampshire, and Montana. They're likely waiting on USDA updates before giving residents a timeline, but we are running out of time. But pretty much the message is the same everywhere. October benefits were paid and safe, but November funding has not been sent, meaning millions could wake up November 1st with $0 on their EBT cards. Over 42 million Americans depend on SNAP, and now 26 states plus DC are suing the Trump administration and the USDA, saying that the pause is illegal because there's still $6 billion in emergency funds available. This would be the first time in U.S. history that food stamp benefits stop nationwide during a shutdown. If you're in one of these states, check your local DHS page tonight and share so that people know this before November 1st.
And it was spiritual what she said when she said we don't have enough time, which is definitely the truth. All right, because I grabbed that scripture real quick. All right, for the elect's sake, okay, as the scriptures say, the day shall be shortened. All right, this is Matthew 24, and I gotta keep watching my live feed because it's messing around. I could see this is why the internet is about to be done for, man. All right, Esau on top of these pages. All right, and they're constantly messing with people's live feeds. You know, it'll show that I got people watching, then 2 seconds later it shows nothing, then it shows people watching and not. Man, listen, it'll start buffering, all of that. That's all, you know, Esau messing with everybody's feeds, all right? Those that are bringing out the truth through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, all right, which is ultimately Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai giving you the warnings that, man, this is about to be cut off, all right? But this is Matthew 24, and give me 1 second. This is Matthew 24, and I'll take it from 21. And it says, for then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be. And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. All right. And like I said, man, there's not a lot of time left. Like what they said, all right, there's not a lot of time left in this place, man. This is why you have to seek the Lord while he may be found, because this thing is about to pop off, okay? And it's all designed by your elites, all right, to make you basically bow down to their system, you see? They're taking away the benefits of this place, man, the things that people depended on the most, all right? And if they can take those things away from you, they're able to control you mentally. That's why knowledge and wisdom shall be the stability of thy times, you see. So let's go back to 21. It says, for then shall be great tribulation. Okay, let's go into that word tribulation just to see what it has in there, the interlinear, anything useful. All right, which goes into Philippians.
Strong's G 2347. Thlipsis.
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 Right, and it says oppressing. Okay, pressing together, pressure. That's exactly what's being pushed upon you. That pressure. All right. And as long as they put that pressure and keep putting you in that pressure in these desperate times, this is why people are going to go to desperate measures. All right. Because of the pressing that they're putting up upon the people, man. All right. It says metaphorically oppression, affliction, tribulation, distress, and straits. We are entering into very dangerous times, dire straits. Okay. Distress moments. Okay, we're constantly being oppressed. All right, oppressed by our oppressor. All right, this is the pressure that this oppressor does, you see, to make you bow down to his system. All right, so you can go to him for the want of all things. All right, like it tells you in Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, which that's an actual curse upon our people. All right, and that curse follows them to this day. All right, as the scriptures say that these curses shall follow you until they have destroyed thee. All right, let's see. Uh, let me grab 45. Right, it says, as a matter of fact, this is 44. 43, it says, the stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low. All right, which this goes into Esau, all right, and these other nations, all right, because we're going to go to them for the want of all things. All right, but this is actually a curse that's happening upon us right now, because they've gotten even higher than they've ever been. You see, at one point we had a voice. We were able to speak on these things and have a say so. All right. But now Esau's putting so much pressure and applying that pressure that you're not even able to say anything or speak on it anymore, except through social media, which you're crying and you're bickering, and he could care less. All right. What you're talking about, because he's still going to make the move. All right. Which is ultimately sent from Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. All right. Against a hypocritical nation. So, the Lord is allowing this devil to take charge. Basically, he's giving them that charge to take you niggas as the spoil. Okay, it says, the stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low. All right, and let me read it in NLT. It says, the foreigners living among you will become stronger and stronger, while you become weaker and weaker. And see, the one that's getting smacked the hardest is Jake, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians, man. These other nations ain't getting smacked with these benefits like that. They might take them away, all right? But at the end of the day, the target is not them, all right? And I wouldn't be surprised that these other nations continually get their benefits, all right, just to cause controversy amongst the people, all right, just to stir them up even more, because then they'll see that all these other nations are still walking in there and being able to get their benefits while your ass is sitting outside, trying to plot on them, you see? And it's all by design, man. Okay, because they want to take you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans out of the picture. Okay, so it says, he shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. All right, and that's how it is now. Everything that we get, it comes from these nations. Okay, they're not going to us to buy. All right, yeah, you might have a couple of these nations might go to your little mom and pop shops, you know what I'm saying, and go eat and make you a little money. But at the end of the day, they could care less, man. All right, we have to go to these bigger supermarkets, right? We have to go to these bigger companies in order for us to keep our little mom and pop shops alive, you see? So at the end of the day, they are the ones that are lending to you, okay? And you have to go to them for the want of all things. All right. It says, he shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail. And that's what these are. The people are the head. All right. These nations are the head, and we are the tail, because we have to follow them. Okay. And we have to follow them to get the things that we need. You see, they're not coming to us for all the things that they need in this society. All right. So it says, moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee and pursue thee and overtake thee till thou be destroyed. And that's something that's going to happen from, always. We've always had these curses pursuing us, even us that's in this truth. Okay. These curses still pursue us to this day, Now they become lighter, all right, and you see that the curses that were once upon us, all right, are being lifted up off of us, and they're being put on our enemies. But still, all right, because of your wickedness, these curses have to pursue you even all the way until death. You see. So it says, moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee and shall pursue thee and overtake thee till thou be destroyed, because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of the Lord Yahweh thy power, which is going into what? The voice of the Lord is the prophets. You didn't want to take heed of the message that the prophets were giving you. Instead, you wanted to worry about, oh, what we look like. You guys are too austere, and you curse too much. At the end of the day, did you hear the message? Did you get the memo? Did you get the warning? All right, it ain't about what we look like, what you want to call us, and how you want to make fun of us. Did you get the memo? Okay, that we're here for a reason, to give you the bad news. we the prophets are here to mess up your day. It's that simple. Okay, we're here to fuck up your day, and have you in worries, man. Because through the terror of the Lord is how we persuade men. So we know and understand how Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai operates. So we know that the Lord, all right, is going to try to put that spirit on us to speak to you, to make you afraid, because the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. You see, and by us giving you that fear is how we persuade the minds of the elect to turn back. And only the minds of the elect, only the true elect, all right, is going to resonate with the spirit and turn back to the Lord and hear his voice and follow him, as the scriptures say. My sheep hear my voice and they follow me. Okay. They tremble when they hear this word. All right. And that's a healthy fear. Okay. We're not supposed to be trembling at Esau and what he's about to do. Okay. Because the Lord is exposing everything, man. And he's showing you that the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shah is going to keep a certain protection around those that follow him. You see? So it says, more because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of the Lord thy power, to keep his commandments and his statutes which he commanded. And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever. You see? So these curses always are going to pursue us, man. There's no way around the curses. You see? And even us being in this truth, we have to still go through these curses. Why? Because the things we've done in our past life, we have to pay for these things. All right. And this is why you have repentance offered onto you. All right. The greatest thing is to have prayer and fasting so you can repent. All right. To Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, because that's what he wants you to do. He wants you to remember, okay, the true power that has brought you out of the house of bondage. Are we not in the house of bondage still? Okay. Is this not spiritually Egypt? Okay. So we are still in the house of bondage. All right. Spiritually. Okay. And the Lord wants us to come up out of the ways of this place, man, so he can be able to perform, all right, what is promised onto us, okay, salvation, right? It says, let's grab, continuing. It says, because thou serve not the Lord Yahweh, thy power, with joyfulness and with gladness of heart, for the abundance of all things, therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord Yahweh shall send against thee, in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in want of all things. You see? And that's very heavy, because to this day, all right, that's what these people, that's what Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai has our people going to, man. Especially you 2/3. You see, we're not going to go to these damn devils for the want of anything, because the Lord said, I am your shepherd, that you shall not want. Okay. So we have Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, and we understand that we have to wait on the Lord with patience, suffering, and in due time, he's going to give us what we need right on time. You see? So it says, and he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he has destroyed thee. Okay. And, spiritually, we don't even have those, that yoke upon our neck anymore, the chains and the shackles, but we are still spiritually still in our captivity. Okay. With those chains, mentally enslaved. All right. Going by the ways of Stockholm syndrome. You've been oppressed so long that you believe your oppressor. You're happy with your oppressor. That's what Stockholm syndrome is. Let's grab that real quick. All right. Definition of Stockholm Syndrome. Definition of Stockholm Syndrome.
Stockholm Syndrome is a psychological state where someone held...
Oh, that's the first time Susan ain't finished her damn sentence. This is a Stockholm Syndrome. It says it's a psychological phenomenon where a hostage or abused victim develops a positive emotion bond with their captor or abuser. You see, this attachment can lead victims to feel sympathy for their abuser, defend them. That's what you niggas do out here, man. You've been oppressed so damn long that here it is. We'll tell you who your enemy is, not to trust thine enemy, and you'll sit there and actually defend this damn devil. Why? Because you are of your father the devil, and the lust of your father you will do, pertaining to John 8:44. All right. It says this attachment can lead victims to feel sympathy for their abuser, defend them, or even resist rescue. Woo! You see, here it is. We offer you rescue of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, and they resist it. All right, as the scriptures say, ye always have resisted the Holy Spirit. Okay, and that's what they're doing. The good word, the good tidings, all right, the good news that's given on to you, they just literally they push it to the side. They gave the cold shoulder. All right, let's grab that real quick. This is, let me grab it from man, I just lost my train of thought. Salakia. Man, I lost my train of thought. That ain't nothing but Satan, man. Salakia, Lord willing, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, give me that back. All right. So let me just go back to what I was reading, and maybe it'll come back to me. It says this attachment can lead victims to feel sympathy for their abuser, defend them, or even resist rescue, okay, or escape attempts. Okay. And again, this is what we're constantly doing, man. We're giving you the word for you to be able to have your mind set free, because the scriptures tell you what, all right, the truth shall set you free, from that mental captivity. Okay. But, oh, that's what I wanted, the water, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. All right. But they refused they refused the word. All right. Zechariah, let's grab that. 7 and 11. All right. It says, let me grab it from. Let's grab it from 8. It says, the word of the Lord Yahweh came unto Zechariah, saying, thus speaketh the Lord Yahweh of hosts, saying, execute true judgment. All right. And that's what's about to happen. True judgment is about to be executed, man. And show mercy and compassion every man to his brother. All right. And in this truth, all right, who is your brothers, man? Who is your true family? Okay. Your true family are those that do the will of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. You see, as a matter of fact, let me grab that real quick in Matthew. Okay. And I'll go back to that, Matthew 10, and I'll give you an example. Okay. Salakia. Actually, Matthew 12. And it's take it from 46. All right. Yeah, 46. It says, while he yet talked to the people, and this was Yahushua speaking to the people, right? It says, behold, his mother and his brethren stood without, desiring to speak with him. Then one said unto him, behold, thy mother and thy brethren stand without, desiring to speak with thee. Okay. But he answered, this is the words that Yahushua said of his own mother and his own brother. But he answered and said unto him that told him, who is my mother and who are my brethren? And he stretched forth his hand toward his disciples and said, behold, my mother and my brethren, for whosoever shall do the will of my Father, which is in heaven, the same is my brother and sister and mother. Okay. So, those that do the will of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, that's your true family. Okay. So going back to Zechariah 7, Okay, and 8, and it says, and the word of the Lord Yahweh came unto Zechariah, saying, thus speaketh the Lord Yahweh of hosts, saying, execute true judgment and show mercy and compassions every man to his brother. All right, so he's gonna show true love to those that hearken on to the word of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, because that's the true family, the true brotherhood. All right, the those that were basically chosen to be of the elect. Okay, that is who your true family is, man. All right, it's not saying that your family that you have now, your real mother, your real father, your brother, your sister, it's not saying that they're not, your family. All right, but your true family is those that worship Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. You see, and those are the ones that can be trusted. The ones that don't believe, man, they cannot be trusted in these days. You see, and we have to be careful, because the Lord even said that a man's foes shall be those of his own household, man. Well, what are you gonna say about that? How you gonna go around that statement that Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shah made, man? You see, he said, I come not to bring peace on earth, but to bring a sword. Okay, meaning to what? To cut, to bring division. Okay, he's gonna set a man at variance with, the son at variance with his father. Okay, the daughter against the mother. You see, that's showing you that your own family is going to be your own enemies. Okay, in those days. All right, if the Lord puts the spirit on them to do that. All right, and this is why we can't have no emotion in this truth. All right, because you have to have the understanding of these things. Right, so it says, um execute true judgment and show mercy and compassion every man to his brother, and oppress not the widow nor the fatherless, the stranger nor the poor, and let none of you imagine evil against his brother in your heart. Okay, but they refused to hearken, and pulled away the shoulder, and stopped their Salaki, and stop their ears, and that they should not hear. Okay, and that's what they've always done. They resisted, all right, the Holy Spirit always. Okay, all right. So it says, but they refused to hearken, and pulled away the shoulder, and stopped their ears, that they should not hear. Yea, they had made their hearts as an adamant stone, lest they should hear the law and the words which the Lord Yahweh of hosts has sent in his spirit by the former prophets. Therefore came a great wrath from the Lord of hosts. Therefore it is come to pass that as he cried, and they would not hear, so they cried, and I would not hear, saith the Lord Yahweh of hosts. But I scattered them with a whirlwind among all the nations whom they knew not. Thus the land was desolate after them, and no man passed through, nor returned, for they laid the pleasant land desolate. Okay. So, these people continually keep, pushing off the word of the Lord, man. All right. And this is why sudden destruction is going to come upon them. Okay. And it's ultimately because of that Stockholm syndrome. Okay. So it says, back to Stockholm syndrome, it says a psychological phenomenon where it's hostage. All right, that's what you are. You are hostage in this place, man, because you are still in captivity, as it tells you in Baruch 3 and 8. All right, you are still in captivity till this day, subject to payments. All right, and we pay all types of bills in here, man. You have a birth certificate, you have a license, you have a social security card. All right, that's modern day slavery, man. Okay, it says, where a hostage or abuse victim develops a positive emotional bond with their captor or abuser. This attachment can lead victims to feel sympathy for their abuser, defend them, or even resist rescue or escape attempts. Okay, the term originated from a 1973 bank robbery in Stockholm, Sweden, where hostages developed a bond with their robbers. Okay, but that's the point on that. Look at this behavior symptoms. It says developing positive feelings toward the abuser or captor, right? But this is the one I want. It says refusing. This is why they refuse and give us the shoulder, man. Refusing to cooperate against the abuser. You see, See, they'll refuse the word of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, but they won't refuse to cooperate, all right, against their actual oppressor, man. They're just going to keep following in his ways. And if he says jump, they say how high, okay? So, underlining psychology, it says it is considered a coping mechanism that develops under intense stress and can help with survival. A victim may feel relief when an abuser shows a moment of kindness, leading to a positive feeling toward them, especially when the threat of violence is constant. You see, and that's why it tells you never trust thine enemy, man. All right. Let's grab that real quick. This is Ecclesiasticus, all right, 10, Salakia 12 and 10. And it says, never trust thine enemy, for like iron rusted, so is his wickedness. Though he humbles himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him, and thou shalt be unto him as if thou hast wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust has not been altogether wiped away. You see? Let's jump down to 16. It says, an enemy speaketh sweetly with his lips. And that's what it was just referring to, man. See, they'll speak kindly to you. They'll speak generous to you, all right, because you're in fear of what he can do to you, man. And the Lord said not to fear him that could kill the body, all right, but fear him that could kill the body and the soul, all right? So this devil ain't nothing but just, he flesh just like you. What the hell is you scared of him for, man? When you should be fearing Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, okay? It says, an enemy speaketh sweetly with his lips, but in his heart he imagineth how to throw thee into a pit. He will weep with his eyes, but if he find opportunity, he will not be satisfied with blood. If adversity come upon thee, thou shalt find him there first, and though he pretend to help you, yet shall he undermine thee. And that's what this devil does, man. He pretends every time to help you, all right? But deep down, he's thinking about how to put you in a ditch, man. You see? As the scripture's saying in Psalms 55, right? His words were smoother than butter. All right, let's grab that. This is Psalms, all right, which that was talking about the time of the Native American Indians when he came to Gad. All right. All right, but that applies to this day, here to this day, okay? 21, 55 and 21. It says, let's take it from 19. It says, Yahweh shall hear and afflict them, even he that abideth of old, Salah, because they have no changes, therefore they fear not Yahweh. He has put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him. He has broken his covenant. That's what this devil does, man. He is known for breaking covenants, man. So here it is. He might actually, Shalom, brother. Here it is. He might give you, you know, a nice little rundown, okay, and you know, offer you peace. But he is known to break his covenants, man. As a matter of fact, we just had this whole thing with 2025. Peace 2025 from DT, right? And it was with these I believe it was with I forgot who it was. I think it was with Iran or so I think it was with Gaza, whatever. But right after that, I think it was like 3 days later, here you go. They were still dropping some missiles in this place, man. After he just made a whole peace treaty, man. You see? So this devil does the same thing, you know, with us. That's why we tell you, when they shall say peace and safety, okay, then sudden destruction cometh upon the people. Why? Because he is known to say peace and break that covenant and go back to his what? His wickedness. Because his rust is not altogether wiped off, man. His rust is always going to get worse and worse. He has a perpetual hatred, man. So it's like Pharaoh. When Pharaoh was, you know, being told by Moses, let the people go, you know, he will let them go. But what will happen? Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai will harden his heart, okay? And he will go back to doing the same exact thing, you see? So you have to understand that Esau today is the modern day Pharaoh. So the Lord is always hardening his heart to go back to his evil, wicked ways to show his damn devil horns, man. And this is why we tell you not to trust in thine enemy, man. Okay. So it says, the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. Okay. And this is why we have to cast the burdens upon the Lord, man, so he can sustain us, man, and we shall never be moved. All right. The righteous is not going to be moved. All right. As long as you put your trust in Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. Right. So going back to the aspects of Stockholm syndrome, all right, we just went into the behavior symptoms. It says refusing to cooperate against the abuser, developing negative feelings toward police or other authorities, man. See, that's you going down to Egypt for help, all right? But by you going down to Egypt for help, that's going to be your confusion, okay? Let's just grab that real quick in Isaiah, all right, 30. This is Isaiah 30 and 1. And it says, woe to the rebellious children. All right. And that's what our people are, hard-headed, stiff-necked. You know, they are rebellious. And to be rebellious is just as witchcraft, man. The Lord looks at that as witchcraft. He looks at it as sin. Okay. They're a rebellious house at the end of the day. It says, woe to the rebellious children, saith the Lord Yahweh, that take counsel, but not of me. All right. Yeah, they'll hear the philosophies of this world. They'll hear what their presser has to offer. But see, they don't want to listen to what Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai has to offer them, man. Especially because it's coming out of the mouth of the prophets. All right. Because let's grab that. Whew. Real quick. This is Ecclesiasticus, I believe it's the 13th chapter. All right. Yep. 23, 13 and 23. When a rich man speaketh, every man holdeth his tongue, and look what he says. They extol it to the clouds. But if a poor man speak, all right, which the poor man is who? The prophets, man. To the world, we look poor as hell. We look like some bums. We look like some angry ass niggas just yelling at you on the middle of the street. Okay. So it said, but if the poor man speak, they say, what fellow is this? And if he stumble, they will help to overthrow him. And these people can't wait to help Esau, all right, overthrow us, okay? Which at the end of the day is not going to happen because we stand firm in that faith. We stand firm with Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, and the counsel of the Lord shall stand, okay? Let me grab that real quick. The counsel of the Lord shall stand, KJV. This is in Proverbs. Yep. This is Proverbs 19 and 21. And it says, there are many devices, okay, in a man's heart. Nevertheless, the counsel of the Lord Yahweh, that shall stand. All right. So, you know, man's heart, all right, has many different thoughts. All right. Many different devices, ideas. Okay. How to overthrow things, but at the end of the day, the counsel of the Lord stands, because ultimately Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai is what controls the minds of the people. Okay, so continuing on. All right, I gotta go back to that Stockholm syndrome, right? And it says, look at that. They done just switched it all up on me. That's wild. The characteristics just changed. Like literally everything just changed. It's not even showing what I just had. That's wild. See, that's Esau. Esau just straight playing with them phones, man. All right. But hey, it's all right. What came out already came out. All right. Through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. All right. So let me grab what else I can grab out of it before it changes again. Okay. The actual definition of Stockholm. Yeah, that's wild, yo. That is real wild. Real talk. Let me see what AI mode says. Yeah, completely changed everything I was just reading. All right, cool. It is what it is. Shalak writing on to Esau. All right, so Stockholm syndrome, the actual The actual definition is feelings of trust or affection felt in many cases of kidnapping or hostage taken by a victim toward a captor. All right, even that changed, Joe, because that's not even the damn thing they had there, the actual definition. All right, but that's all right. Y'all got the point on the Stockholm syndrome. Okay, so let's go back to Ecclesiastes 13:23. When a rich man speaketh, every man holdeth his tongue, and look what he saith, they extol it to the clouds. So here it is, when your oppressor speaks, okay, these people just like in awe. They can't believe it. Oh, wow, he has great wisdom. All right, when we've been telling you the same thing that this devil's trying to tell you, you see? But when it comes out of our mouths, all right, they look at us like, who the hell is this nigga right here trying to say something, trying to be smart, try to come out with something intelligent. All right. They don't like that. And that just shows, that these people don't honor. All right. As the scriptures tell you, man, a prophet is not honored in his own country. All right. In his own household, man. Here it is. We're telling our people the same thing, who the devil is and everything, and they just can't perceive it, man. They can't seem to hear, what we're trying to tell them. It just goes through one ear and out the other. All right. And that's just meant to, it's all because Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai set it up that way, man. It wasn't meant for them to get it. That's why we tell you, with no emotion, all right, with austereness, we tell you straight up, it ain't meant for you, and people get mad when they say it ain't meant for them. Well, we can tell through the spirit. We judge all things through the spirit, man. The scriptures talk about to test the spirits, man. So we'll test your spirit, and within a couple of minutes, all right, we already know if you're wanting to receive this word or not. Okay, it tells you also to after the first admonition, all right, after the first or two admonitions, you reject the person, man. So you give it to them a couple times. If they don't get it, oh well, you got to reject this person, man. And if the Lord is gonna allow him to have it, maybe he'll come back later, might see something or hear something that we said, all right, and it might click. That's if Yahweh Bashim Yahweh shall have mercy upon you, but if you don't, hey, the counsel of the Lord is always going to stand. All right. It's not what you think. It's not how you feel. All right. It's what Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai says through the scriptures. Okay. So let's go back. Let me see what happens if I go back into Stockholm syndrome again. I'm mad as hell. They really changed that shit. That's crazy. Yeah. It is what it is. All right. So let's go back to Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter. All right. And then I want to grab a quick two articles. I ain't going to read too much into them. All right. I'll probably just read a little bit, and then I'll grab some more scriptures and end it off. All right. So going back to Deuteronomy 28 and 48, it says, therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord Yahweh shall send against thee in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in a want of all things. Okay. And that's what's happening. Okay. And as a matter of fact, I also had Isaiah. Let me grab that real quick. Isaiah, and finish that up. Isaiah 30. All right. 30 and 1, and it says, woe to the rebellious children, saith the Lord Yahweh, that take counsel, but not of me, and that cover with a covering, but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin, that walk to go down into Egypt, and have not asked at my mouth to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh, and to trust in the shadow of Egypt. Therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame, and the trust in the shadow of Egypt your confusion. Okay. Let me jump down to 12. It says, as a matter of fact, let's take it to 9. All right. Because this is what our people want to hear, man. They want to hear us prophesy these lies to them. They want us to talk to them in a soft way. Don't worry about it. Everything's going to be okay. Okay. We ain't going to talk to you like that, because everything ain't okay here, man. This is a matter of life and death. All right. For your spirit, for your soul. Okay, and you're about to literally sell your soul to this devil for the want of all things, when you have Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai that'll fight for you, and you shall hold your peace. You see? So it says 9, that this is a rebellious people, lying children that will not hear the law of the Lord Yahweh, which say to the seers, this is what they say to the prophets, see not And to the prophets prophesy not unto us right things, okay? Speak unto us smooth things, prophesy deceits. You see, they want us to sugarcoat everything in here, man. But we ain't here for sugarcoating. We're here to give it to you made plain upon the tables, clear for you to understand. So when they hear it, they shall run. And when they read it, they shall run to the Lord, man, with great fear, because through the fear of the Lord is how we persuade men. Okay. It says, get you out of the way, turn aside out of the path, because the Holy One of Israel, to cause the Holy One to Israel to cease from before us. And that's what they want, man. They act like the Lord are not about to do what he came to do. You know, he's about the Lord's business, man. All right. So at the end of the day, all right, you might want these things not to happen, but just because you don't want it to happen, you think the Lord gonna switch up his ways. All right. This is Romans. All right, Romans 3:3. Okay. This is Romans 3:3, and it says, what if some did not believe? Shall their unbelief make the faith of Yahweh without effect? Okay. God forbid. Meaning what? No. All right. Because all unfaithful gonna die in their unfaithfulness, man. So because you don't believe, you think the Lord gonna switch up his whole entire word just for your particular ass. That shit makes no sense, man. The Lord is not a respect of persons, man. He could care less about what your thought is. Okay. He only cares about the elect. The Lord has care for the elect. Okay. And if you want to be saved, you are going to put on Yahushua and put on as the elect and be confident that you are the elect and not have a doubt about it, because a little bit of doubt is that much, the ounce of doubt, this much of doubt is what can be your downfall, man. The Lord said with an ounce of faith, a little bit of faith, this much, you can move a mountain. But with a little bit of doubt like this is what Yahweh Bashim Yahushua can send Satan to go destroy you with, man. And then you can just be taken out of the way, you see? So it says, for what if some did not believe? Shall their unbelief make the faith of Yahweh without effect? Yahweh forbid, yet let Yahweh be true. Okay, let this word be true, because it is faithful and true, right? But every man a liar, as it is written. And some people will be like, oh, well, you're a man and you speaking about it. All right, so you should be a liar. But we're speaking in the words of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. Okay, we're not prophesying out of our own hearts, out of our own vain opinions. Okay, and the scriptures say that no scriptures of prophecy is of a private interpretation. So we're not going to come to you with our own private interpretations of things. Although these people always say the same thing. Oh, you know, that's your interpretation of the Bible. No, there's no such thing as an interpretation of the Bible, your own interpretation. It's the Lord said, through thy precepts I get understanding. So you have to go precept upon precept, line upon line, here little, there little. Through the precepts is how you get understanding. This is how we got understanding, by following precept upon precept, line upon line. You see, and the Lord will sup with you if you are of the elect, all right, and give you that gift of faith, all right, which faith is the base of all things. Without faith, it is impossible to please him. So if you don't even believe when we tell you that the name is Yahweh, that he exists, what? Put it together. He not going to give you the word, man. That's why you end up becoming a reprobate mind, you see, unworthy to receive the name of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. Okay? So it says, Yahweh forbid, let Yahweh be true, but every man a liar, as it is written, that thou mightest be justified in thy sayings and mightest overcome when thou art judged. Okay. So going back to Isaiah, the 30th chapter at 11, get you out of the way, turn aside out of the path, cause the Holy One of Israel to cease from before us. Wherefore thus saith the Holy One of Israel, because you despise this word and trust in oppression and perverseness, that's Stockholm syndrome, and stay thereon, therefore this iniquity shall be to you as a breach ready to fall, swelling out in a high wall, whose breaking cometh suddenly at an instant. You see, it's gonna come to you swiftly, the judgment of the Lord, man. All right, so let's go back to Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter and 48. Okay, therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord Yahweh shall send against thee in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in the want of all things. Okay, and literally the Lord is taking away everything from this place, man. The benefits, all right. And it looks like through the spirit, that's what he's starting off with first. All right. And when you read in these scriptures, man, that's always what happened, man. The Lord will always bring a certain famine to the people, man. And then the people wanted to go back, okay, and try to turn back, but it's too late, you see? So let's grab real quick. I had a thought. Lord willing, it comes back to me. Okay. Let me read this again. It says, send against thee in hunger and in thirst. Oh, that's what I wanted. The water Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. This is Isaiah 3:1. It says, for Yahweh will remove the leaders, right? Judgment against Judah. Okay. It says, for the Lord Yahweh, all right, Yahweh Shai, it's like it. For behold, the Lord Yahweh Shai, the Lord Yahweh of hosts, does take away from Jerusalem and from Judah. All right, both northern kingdom and southern kingdom. Okay, the stay and the staff, the whole stay of bread and the whole stay of water. Okay, NLT says the Lord Yahweh Shai, Salakia, the Lord Yahweh Shai, the Lord Yahweh of heaven's armies will take away from Jerusalem and Judah everything they depend on, every bit of bread and every drop of water. You see? And that's what's happening right before their eyes, man. Okay, the Lord is literally taking that away from you. Okay, so continuing on. All right, let me grab this Salakia. Let me just grab this article real quick. It's two of them I wanted. Let's see, where's that? Well, I got one of them. Damn, I had another one too. Where did it go? Okay. This is Snap collapse threatens Walmart, Kruger, and other retailers, man. All right. And hey, man, through the spirit, we've been telling you this, man, that is gonna affect these stores, man. And this is why this is how martial law is gonna be brought into play. Okay. Because people gonna start riot looting, you know what I'm saying? They're gonna start looting all these stores, and they're gonna start looting people out in these in the parking lots. All right, and they want to bring in, you know, which they just sent to every state, martial law troops, man. Okay, there's a reason for that, because they know what's about to happen. They know all hell's about to break loose. It's just time, right? So it says, tellers, millions could see price increases as a already at a certain inflation, but little by little, all right, it kind of went down for a little bit, right? But then now it's about to even skyrocket even higher, all right? Because what happens is, while these SNAP benefits are being taken away, all right, that's going to cause the rest of these stores to actually lose a lot of money, because they depend on the 1st and the 15th for that money from millions and millions of people. So that's millions and millions of dollars that they're going to lose out on. So what happens is they have to jack up the prices, all right, in order to make up for that loss. Okay, and what's going to also happen is they're not going to buy as much food as they normally have, because who is going to buy it? All right, and then what's going to happen eventually, victuals shall become so cheap on earth, as it tells you in 2nd Ezra, the 16th chapter, and they will think themselves to be in good case. All right, but meanwhile that's happening, you know, evils is still growing upon the earth. All right, and the prices are going to kind of drop. All right, they're going to go up high. Those that are starving going to buy it. They're going to have a lot of money. They're going to buy it. Okay, but if they have things that are left over, okay, they're going to get closer to the expiration dates. And when they get closer to the expiration dates, that's why when you go to a store, you know, if something is you know, baked in that day and nobody buys it, all right, they have to sell it to you later at 70% off later in the night, 50%, because it was made that day. All right. And they don't want it to go bad and go to waste. So they'll sell it, okay, at a low price so somebody could take it. So that's what's going to end up happening. All right. Because the people that are rich, they're going to buy their things that they need. Right. But then if all hell does start breaking out, all right, these people not going to want to be going to these stores. So it's going to leave the stores with no choice but to whatever they have left to sell it to stay afloat. They're going to have to give it to you at a certain price, and it's going to be cheaper, you see? And they're going to think, these people going to think they're in good case, all right? But meanwhile, evils are still growing upon the earth, okay? So it says millions could see price increases as a result. It says the ongoing, I'm going to read a little bit. I ain't going to read too much into it. Let me see how long it is. This one ain't too long. I'll kind of jump around. It says Snap collapse threatens Walmart, Kruger, and other retailers, right? It says the ongoing U.S. government shutdown is now 31 days old, all right? Making it the second highest in history. Although the economic pain from this has been accumulated from much of October, on November 1st, it's expected to be turned up a notch. All right. And that's exactly what's going to happen. Yahweh Bashim, Yahweh Shai going to turn it up a notch. Okay. That's because President, all right, DT administration originally decided not to tap into contingency fund to pay for supplemental nutrition assistance program. They're going into the SNAP beyond this date, right? Then it says SNAP benefits, or food stamps, as they're more commonly known, are a key pillar of America's social safety nets. Any disruption to the system could have far-reaching implications, not only for the program's beneficiaries, but also for retailers and consumers nationwide. Here is what is at stake. Must read. Dave Ramsey warns nearly 50% of Americans are making one big Social Security mistake. Here's what it is, and 3 simple steps to fix it ASAP. 22 U.S. states are now in a recession or close to it. Protect your savings with these 10 essential money moves ASAP. All right, which, man, your savings is gonna go to, because they're gonna, in the midst of all this, they're gonna start raping your bank accounts, man. Okay, they're gonna start taking out your money out your bank accounts, just like you see out there in China. People woke up one day and then gone. All their bank account savings was gone, erased. And what they blame it on? Cyber attacks, which they tell you about cyber attacks in this place all the time. So it's coming. I always advise people, man, take your money out of your bank accounts. Forget these bank accounts, man. Take out your money, if you have an extra bit of cash, basically, stock up on a little bit of food, be smart. We're not about to be no doomsday preppers, all right? Because we have trust in Yahweh Bashim, Yahweh Shai. He gonna feed us. He gonna let us eat, okay? But you got to also play smart, and see what the times that we're in. So it would be nice if you have some money to stock up a little something. Mostly stock up on water, all right? Because it's not starvation that kills you, it's dehydration. All right. So you can go to weeks without eating, but you have plenty of water, so stack up on some water, and ultimately, if you have a little bit of money, all right, the best thing is to, buy a little bit of gold, buy a couple things of silver, you know what I'm saying? And because when the money collapses, all right, precious metals go up. All right. And you got gold at an all-time high right now. I believe I think it's like $4,000. All right. Let me see real quick. How much is an ounce of gold worth right now? An ounce of gold right now is worth, look at that, $4,000.
Between $4,000 and $4,018 US dollars.
Yeah. So, and that's the highest I've seen it in a long time. Okay. And silver, silver's probably at like, let me see where silver's at. How much is an ounce of silver worth? They're at $50 right now.
November 2025. 1 ounce of silver is currently.
So everything has gone up, because not too long ago, gold was $2,000. So from all this shit that's going on, it raised up $2,000. All right. And silver raised up $25. You see? So, it's important to have precious metals if you have it. Okay. because those are going to be valuable in those days. And then, you know, eventually that will fall also, and we're going to basically fall into what? A barter system. Okay. Because, you know, things are going to be valuable, things like clothing and, you know, whatever it is. A lot of things are going to become valuable through a barter system that we're going to have. Okay. You see that in the movie The Book of Eli. Okay. So continuing on real quick, it says no time to lower your crippling. What the hell? What the hell does that have to do with anything? It says no time to lower your crippling car insurance rate. Here's how to do it within minutes. You could end up paying $29 a month. Yeah, that's wild. I don't know what that. It says must read with it. All right, but let's get out of that. All right, let's jump down a little bit. It says 42 million Americans directly impacted. Yeah. All right. There was, I read it was 60 million people that are using Snap today. 42 million of them are going to be affected. You see? So that's showing you that 20 million, 18 million of them are going to still be receiving some type of benefits, man. And see, that's the psyops that this damn devil does. And most of them that are going to be getting that is going to be these other nations. It ain't going to be you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, man. It's going to be these other nations, and they're going to do it to piss you off. This is how they start race wars. This is how they start, you know, food riot. Let me this real quick. That Salakia, you got Esau literally playing with my feed. Oh, look at that! Look at that! He got me even with doubles on my feed right now. What a weirdo, man! You're so damn weird, bro. There you go. So weird, this damn devil. Shalak Rayum. Wa Anashian, Wa Abadian, Wa Haragian, Wa Mashapayan, all called Adawami and Bubble Shaw, Bubble Shaw, Bubble Shaw, Bubble Shaw, to Wada, to Wild. All right. So, going back to what I was saying, to Wada Yahweh Bashim Al Shah for bringing it back, though. You know, these people trust in the staff, man. All right, in a broken reed. All right, this is Isaiah 36:6. Lo, thou trustest in the staff of this broken reed on Egypt. Okay, wherein if a man lean, it will go into his hand and pierce it. Okay, so is Pharaoh, king of Egypt, to all that trust in him. All right, so you know that's what happens when you depend on these systems, man, instead of depending on Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. Okay, and what eventually is going to happen is that they're going to pierce you, man. All right in your hand, all right, or your forehead, okay, with that Rice Krispie treat, man. That's what this is all leading to. This is all roads lead back to that Rice Krispie treat, okay? They're going to put you in that predicament of you being depressed, you know, and you know, in a desperation state of mind, you being desperate, all right, and wanting these things, okay, That's how they have the control to be able to smack you with the okey doke, okay? Because it ain't about really getting you into the going into the digital IDs, okay? I said that in a couple videos, you know, already in the last couple weeks, all right? All that shit is nonsense, man. The digital IDs has been going on worldwide heavy, all right? But it's only going to happen here for a little bit, you know, because they're trying to the Rice Krispie tree is gonna come from America. You see, and it's gonna be pushed even heavier throughout the world, made mandatory throughout the world after that. Okay, these other places is dealing with the digital IDs. Yeah, they're gonna bring it over here too for a little while, but it's not gonna be like it's being done everywhere else. Okay, because the system is the image of everything is right in here in America. Okay, Babylon the Great. All right. I said that it was steps that they were taking. You know, the Yo Jabba Jabba in 2020 was made for you to get the GO inside your body. You know, if you know what I'm talking about. All right. The I ain't even gonna say it. All right. But if you've been paying attention, you know what the GO is, the stuff that they put inside, all right, the Yo Jabba Jabba, which basically that goes hand in hand with us having, you know, the technology in our body to be able to connect to their technology even better. Okay. And this digital ID goes into basically biometrics, being able to get your eyes, get your the biometrics of your body, all of that is basically to be able to connect us once again to the system even better. Okay, so they could skip that process, man. They've been already getting your damn biometrics in different ways, in different in different other sources that they have. All right, but ultimately it's made to lead you to get the Rice Krispie tree. Okay, so where they'll have total control and be able to hack into your thoughts, hack into you, all right, and have you controlled. So, that's what happens when you lean on this staff, man, this broken reed, which is Babylon the Great. Okay. So let's go back to that article, and I'm not even going to read the other articles. All right. I'll just keep reading a little bit of this one. It says 42 million. All right. Americans directly impacted. Okay. It says, roughly 12.3% of the country's population relies on at least some food stamps, which is 42 million people on or nearly the size of Canada's entire population. Okay, according to the USDA data one, it says in 2023, roughly 83% of these benefits went to households with young children, seniors, and people with disabilities, according to the USDA. All right. And honestly, man, they just threw that shit in your face, man. A lot of people weren't even asking for it, and they were just giving it to people, man. Especially your children. Your children were getting little EBT cards for the summer. Go enjoy yourself in the summer and have food for yourself. Ain't nobody asked for these things, but they got it anyway. All right, because they'll just put it in your face like that, man, and they'll make you depend on these things. And what happens is our people become lazy. All right, Americans is fucking lazy as shit. All right, they rather just. This is why they came up with the idea of universal basic income. They want to give you a paycheck to basically sit on your ass at home. Okay, so that's coming. Along with the social credit score. All right, which that goes all being tied into your, the biometrics, all of that. All right, so it says 83% of these benefits went to households with young children, seniors, or people with disabilities, according to the USDA. SNAP benefits are literally the lifeline that feeds us at the end of the month. Okay. It says, let's jump down more. It says, fortunately, the Vital program has avoided any major disruptions for much of its expense until now. Benefits haven't lapsed since the system was launched during the Great Depression. All right, which the ones that really used that back in the day the most was these damn Edomites, man. All right, because at the end of the day, if Jake will be smart, so what if you ain't got no damn SNAP benefits, man? We've already been broke. We've already been going through all types of, hardships in our life. So it's basically like going back to our normal roots of the shit that we was always going through. You know, it shouldn't bother you like it bothers these other nations, man. Because see, they depend on their government. They're about their government and politics, man. But we were never into that shit. Now it's now that Jake wants to be involved into politics and then they want to have a say so and they want to be voters and all that. But back then they wasn't doing that shit. We was already poor as hell, man. So what's the difference? They took away your SNAP benefits. So damn what? Okay. It is what it is, man. All right. It's just another day in Jake's world, man. Being broke as hell and being poor. And this was a curse that was put upon us, man, to be in that state of mind, man. All right. So it says efforts are underway to reverse this lapse as well. A coalition of 23 Democratic attorneys general and 3 Democratic governors is suing the Agriculture Department over its decision to avoid using contingency funds to partially sustain the program in November 3rd, I guess. All right. It says 2 federal judges to date have ordered the DT administration to pay the benefits using contingency funds. DT wrote about the court decisions on Truth Social that he does not want Americans to go hungry just because the radical Democrats refuse to do the right thing and reopen the government. And he might give us something, all right, to play that role of, oh man, he is the greatest. See, I love him because he's making America great again. When he really just doing what? He's speaking sweetly with his lips, but he imagining how to throw you into a pit. Okay, he's setting you up for the okey doke. That's when he'll come and tell you, well, look, I'll give you this. I'll make this happen. All right. You just have to what? You have to just take this Rice Krispie treat that I have to offer onto you. You see? It says, I have instructed our lawyers to ask the court to clarify how we can legally fund SNAP as soon as possible. It is already delayed enough due to the Democrats keeping the government closed through the monthly payment date. And even if we get immediate guidance, it will unfortunately be delayed while states get the money out, he wrote. It's not clear how the debit cards that SNAP beneficiaries use to buy groceries will be filled, or if the orders will be locked up in the courts with appeals and legal review. It typically takes 1 to 2 weeks to reload SNAP benefits. Meanwhile, 22 states have enabled emergency funding to either food banks or the program directly to keep the lifeline open for their residents. And let me tell you something about them food banks, man. Them food banks are running out of food themselves, man. I did a video on that, in actually a production video, and that was one of the clips I used in there, where it was showing that even the food banks were being affected by this, So the food banks is going to run out also. That's only going to last so long, man. And that's going to still bring, the people to break out in riots. Okay. So it says, or the program directly to keep the lifeline open for their residents, according to Axios 5. The means at least some families could avoid the worst case scenario, but that still leaves millions of people in other states vulnerable, and experts believe that the fallout could flow to retailers and families that do not rely on the program. Okay, open this up a little bit, need some air. All right, hot ass breath in here making me hot. All right, so it says impact on retailers. It says food stamps are not just a benefit for vulnerable families, but a key source of revenue for retailers across the country. Walmart alone accounts for 24% of total SNAP spending, according to market research data firm Numerator. That means that if funding for the program lapses, the retail giant stands to lose an estimated $2 billion dollars. You see how it's gonna hit these damn stores real hard. Okay. It says Wolf research analyst Spencer Haynes estimates that discount retailers like Dollar General and Dollar Tree could also see a hit to mid-single digit revenue if the program is suspended. Kruger and Costco also are exposed. Although the impact on grocery prices is difficult to predict with precision, David Ortega, professor of the food economics at Michigan State University, told Reuters that some retailers could raise prices to preserve their thin margins if SNAP funding lapses. In other words, ordinary families could face higher grocery bills to cover the shortfall. And see, and it's basically to knock out this is why they're gonna knock out that middle class, man. All right. There ain't gonna be no more middle class. This is just gonna be rich and poor. Okay. You're not gonna have a middle class no more. That middle class is the ones that are basically still being able to survive. Okay. You know, but eventually they're gonna get impacted too. All right. And this is the way they'll impact you with these inflation prices. Okay. It's gonna make you broke. You ain't gonna be able to pay your bills on time. Okay, man, it's all designed by these elites on a high on a high level. Okay, it says it says workers are impacted too. Nearly one third of Amazon's warehouse workers relied on at least one publicly funded assistance program, such as SNAP in 2024, according to the recent report. Put simply, if the funds run dry or face reduction in November, the ripple effects could indirectly impact far more people than just SNAP recipients. All right. It says how to prepare, and that's pretty much the last of it. All right. It says if you or your loved ones rely on food stamps, you could consider alternatives for the weeks ahead. Look for local, state, or municipal programs that offer food assistance or reach out to the local food bank. You could also consider see that's why the food banks is going to be that shit going to not last too long because so many people are relying on that government that now all those people have to run to the food bank and have to supply those people, man. I've been to food banks, man. I see how they barely got enough to supply these people that are standing in line, and they ain't even like more than 25, 30 people. So imagine hundreds and hundreds coming in by the hour, you know, all designed properly, man, by the elites. Okay. It says you could also consider community pantries and church lunches to plug the gap. If you have opportunity, stock up. And I tell you straight up, man, avoid them churches, man. All right, because these people in the churches, what they do is they want you to come in. All right, when you use them, they want you to basically pray pray to their God. You see, they want you to pray to their gods, and they want you to join their church. telling you, I cannot wait to find out who the one that been doing that all this notice how he cut it off when I was talking about the church, not to go to the church for food, because he gonna make you sin right before your maker. All right, because they're gonna make you join that church, sneak around and get your ass, man. All right, but you know what? I have a couple more scriptures. All right, and I'll close it out because y'all pretty much got the point. All right, Esau mad as hell. That's why he keep pressing that damn button. All right, and honestly, man, once you just press the whole entire internet button and stop playing around, bro. Stop playing around and kicking the can, okay, and just press the damn button so we can get the hell up out of here, man. You see, but he afraid to push that button. He don't want to push that button because he still thinks that his inward thought is that his houses is going to continue forever, man. You see, but this is why he's coming down on us with great wrath because he know that he has but a short time, man. All right, so don't go into the where they just said basically in that article was saying how to prepare. If any of those things happen, man, don't even worry about it, man, because the Lord said, my servants shall eat, okay, and they shall be hungry. My servants shall drink and they shall be thirsty, okay? None of these things are going to affect us and separate us from the love of Hamashiach, Yahweh Shai, all right? None of these things, okay? As a matter of fact, let me grab that scripture right now, okay? This is Romans, all right? To anybody back into the damn page at all, you know what I'm saying? But most likely the Lord allows to get us back on there. This is Romans 8 and 35, and it says, "Who shall separate us from the love of Hamashiach? Shall tribulation or distress or persecution or famine, you see, or nakedness or peril or sword?" It is written for they for in nakedness That's all right. All I did was switch the other phone, switch to the other phone. You want to mess with this phone? I'll switch it to the other one. All right. So going back to Romans 8 and 37, we was at. Okay. This is Romans 8 and 37. Like he literally, like my phone right now is showing that it has no bars, nothing. Has no internet connection to it. Funny as right? But again, none of these things are going to separate us from the love of Hamashiach, all right? Just like I was just reading, all right? Let's read that one more time. Okay. 37. Nay, in all these things we are more than conquerors through him that loved us. For I'm persuaded that neither death, nor life, nor angels, nor principalities, going into these demons, all right, nor powers, the powers of this world, the elites that keep watching us on these videos, all right, and be trying to cut off our feed so the message doesn't get out, okay? Nothing's going to be able to separate us from the love of Mashiach, man, because we still going to press that button to continue to go, through the lesson, right? That ain't nothing but the spirit battling that flesh, So it says, nor principalities, nor powers, these elites, nor things present, nor things to come, nor height, nor depth, nor any other creature shall be able to separate us from the love of Yahweh, which is in Yahweh Shai HaMashiach, man. Okay. That's why we have to continue in this word, man, and keep trusting in the word of the Lord, man, because the word of the Lord is precious. All right. It's very pure. Okay. And as a matter of fact, why is Esau always trying to press that button? Because he's mad as hell. Because, as a matter of fact, that's which I'll do a lesson on that, which this is the Bible verse of the day, okay, that I posted up on my page. Hebrews 4:12. For the word of Yahweh is quick and powerful and sharper than any two-edged sword, piercing even to the dividing asunder of soul and spirit, and of the joints and marrow, and is a discerner of the thoughts that and the intents of the heart. And that's what this devil hates the most. All right, that it's a discerner of the thoughts. So we're able, all right, through the spirit, all right, able to judge and discern, all right, the things that are happening. And we're able to tell you the game plan that Esau already is trying to make, okay, and trying to make happen. We're able to tell you his game plan before it actually happens, you see, and he hates that. That's why he in the background just yanking out his little hair, all right, and trying to cut off feeds, man. Because we're telling his game plan, his story, and we're telling you what to do ahead of time by trusting in Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai and not to trust in this devil. You see, we're going to put our full trust in Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai at all times, man. All right, we don't want nothing from Esau because Esau is the devil that the Bible speaks of, and the Lord is about to destroy this damn devil. You see? So it says, let us therefore, Salakia, past it. It says, I'm going to read that one more time. For the word of the Lord Yahweh is quick and powerful and sharper than any two-edged sword, piercing even to the dividing asunder of soul and spirit, and of the joints and marrow, and is a discerner of the thoughts and intents of the heart. Okay? Let's grab I had something else in my mind, and I'll pretty much end it with that. If I can remember. This is I'll grab Isaiah 31:1. Woe to them that go down to Egypt for help. Okay, woe means what? Destruction. See, realize it ain't doing it now. Now you got to find a way to get to this phone. Woe to them that go down to Egypt for help and stay on horses and trust in chariots because they are many, and in horsemen because they are very strong. And this is why these people lean towards the government, because they have power. You see, they have the power in their hands. The earth is given into the hands of the wicked. All right. So, the earth given into the hand of the wicked, they're able to control everything, man, and make themselves look like they're the superior power. All right. So because the blessing that Esau was given was what? To have the fatness of the earth, all right, to have the blessing of the sword, all right. They have total power of this place, man. And because they're strong, all right, the people follow after their wickedness, man. You see? But at the end of the day, this is what's going to happen. It says, and trust in horsemen because they are very strong, but they look not unto the Holy One of Israel, neither seek the Lord Yahweh. Yet he also is wise and will bring evil. See, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai is even wiser though, okay? Because he got his ass in a delusional state of mind and got him in the trick bag thinking that he gonna continue to rule things, man, when it's Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai that's allowing that to happen, you see? Because the Lord wants to show his power, how he could take something so base, so vile, so at the bottom of society, the true scum of the earth. You see, he wants to show you how he can raise something up like that to have so much power, but just to bring your ass down so low, all right, to the point where you're going to be eradicated off the face of the earth. And those that were at the poor state, all right, the elect, okay, he gonna raise them up out the dunghill, man. All right, and then we're gonna be the princes of this earth, man. You see, that's why that scripture tell you in let's grab that, Ecclesiastes 7:10. All right, Salaki, not 7 and 10, 10 and 7. It says what? It says, I have seen servants upon horses. Horses represent power. All right. So the ones that are in power right now are really supposed to be the true servants. Okay. As slaves on this earth, which that time is coming. Okay. And princes walking as servants upon the earth. See, we're slaves right now in this society, but we're really who? Yasharala, which means he is a prince of power. We're the true princes. We're going to be the kings, all right, of the earth under the rulership of our true king, all right, the only king, Yahweh Shai, you see, and going down to King David being our king also, all right, down to the 12, down to the 144,000, which are going to be the ruling body, the judges of the earth, okay? And they hate that we are woken up to that and we know who we are, and they know that we're next. There's no such thing as these other countries are going to be next. These other nations are going to be next, okay? The only one that got next is Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai, all right, and his elect, okay? And they can't stand to see that we're wide awake, man. You see? So it says, going back to Isaiah 31 and 2, yet he also is wise, Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai, and will bring evil and will not call back his words, but will arise against the house of the evildoers and against the help of them that work iniquity. You see, he gonna rise up against the evildoers, against these elites, and against all you niggas that are Israelites that wanted to help these damn devils, man. Okay. It says, now the Egyptians are men and not God. Okay. Meaning that they are no power. They just men in the flesh thinking that they got power. And their horses is flesh, their power is flesh and not spirit. When the Lord Yahweh shall stretch out his hand, both he that helpeth shall fall, and he that is hoping shall fall down, and they shall fail together. And that's what's coming, man. Everybody's about to fail, trying to sit here and confound Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai and his men. All right. At the end of the day, you know, he's gonna grab the poor. Let me grab that real quick and I'll end it with that. 1 Corinthians, the 7th chapter. The first chapter. Let me grab it real quick. Let's take it from 19. Okay. It says, for it is written, I will destroy the wisdom of the wise and will bring to nothing the understanding of the prudent. Where is the wise? Where is the scribe? Where is the disputer of this world? Has not Yahweh made foolish the wisdom of this world? For after that, in the wisdom of Yahweh, the world by wisdom knew not Yahweh. It pleased Yahweh by the foolishness of preaching to save them that believe. And that's what's happening. All right. We're entertaining Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai by bringing this word out. Okay. But let's jump to 25. Because the foolishness of Yahweh is wiser. All right, Salakia. Because the foolishness of Yahweh is wiser than men, and the weakness of Yahweh is stronger than men. For ye see your calling, brethren, how that not many wise men after the flesh, not many mighty, not many noble are called, but Yahweh has chosen the foolish things of the world to confound the wise, and Yahweh has chosen the weak things of the world to confound the things which are mighty, and base things of the world and things which are despised has Yahweh chosen, and things which are not, to bring to naught things that are. And it's that simple, man. All right. So, hey, with that being said, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Kol Haloim La Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles, a great millstone who rule well. Blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect that scattered abroad, the Akim and the Akwat that was listening in. Yahweh Ratazah, Lord willing that the lesson was edifying. To the next one, Shalom. Keep fighting the good fight of faith. Shalom.